Sorry, man. Hey, Matthew. It's okay. Hey, Ben. Hey, Kat.
You want me to sit by you and learn?
If you want.
You already know. Next time.
Next time.
Good morning. As we center our hearts and minds for worship, hear these words from Psalm 70. Let all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. Holy God, let those who love your salvation say evermore, God is great. Now here are some announcements for our lives together. Connect cards are on the back table and on the front counter. They will also be passed around during offering in the collection plate. If you are not connected to us and get our newsletter and all of that and you want to, please fill that out and return it. There is a teach-in about Gaza, about the history of Gaza tomorrow from 5 to 7 at University of Memphis in the UC Bluff room, sponsored by the Muslim Student Association. We are looking for volunteers for the kids room, so if you're interested in doing that, please scan the QR code in your bulletin. Next Sunday, Patrick has an announcement about next Sunday.
Good morning. If we've not had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Patrick, I'm the pastor here, and next Sunday will be a little different. I'm going to let Mr. Corey talk about some ins and outs of that here in a moment. But a couple of things that we're going to be doing. I know that I've had several conversations with you all, and I know my own heart has been weighed down by what's happening in Israel and Palestine, especially in Gaza. So we are going to have a liturgy today to hopefully offer some prayer and some reflection on that. But then next Sunday, during the Not Sunday School time at 9:30, instead of doing the regular Not Sunday School, we'll have a time of just some learning and some conversation, discussion, prayer, and ways that we can take some action and help. And then if we need more, if that's not enough time, we'll do the same thing again the next Sunday. So I want to make sure that we set aside that time as a community, because I know it's on a lot of our hearts. And we might just need to have some space for discussion and learning. I know none of us, to my knowledge at least, I know I'm not an expert on that area, but maybe some shared learning could be a good opportunity for us. And now I want to invite up, Catherine, I'll invite you up, and I'll go get Mr. Corey.
Good morning, friends. If I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, I'm Catherine Baker, the music director at Evergreen, and it is crazy to me that it's already time to talk about our next beer and hymns. I feel like we just had it, but that was September, and that's how this year is going. So, beer and carols, our Christmas-themed beer and hymns. It's wild to me because it's December 8th, which is 4 weeks from this Friday. So Friday, December 8th. Beer and Carols at Hampline. They're hosting us again. They have heaters. If the weather's nice, we could be out on their patio. Otherwise, we'll be inside. This is a shared endeavor with Neighborhood Church. So the main things you need to know right now are Friday, December 8th, 6:30 to 8:30. Stay tuned for signups. We need a few helping hands, and then we're going to do some shared activities. And then Beer and Carols is going to be a fundraiser for Guns to Gardens. So it'll be an event rooted in peace and community, and it's free as always, but the donations we take up at that event will all go to support Evergreen's Guns to Gardens program. So that's all she did.
Good morning, everybody. So just so you know, if you did not know, next Sunday is going to be a very special Sunday, November 19th. We're going to do a Evergreen Friendsgiving, or is it called that? Is it called the Evergreen Friendsgiving? Yes. It's called Evergreen Friendsgiving, but guess what? You do not have to bring anything. All you have to do is just show up with an appetite. So we're going to have a fruit platter. We're going to have spinach and tomato quiche. We're going to have turkey bacon, turkey sausage. We're going to have gluten-free French toast with berries, buttermilk biscuits, and smoked Gouda grits. I don't know what y'all eat at home, but I don't eat this at home. So I expect to see all of your faces, even you, Mr. Joe. Next Sunday, we're going to have a long table, all right? Well, actually, no, we're going to have like a U-shaped table. And Patrick is still going to give the sermon as well, but it's going to be a Sunday where we can just be a family, come together, and eat. We do that a lot, but this time is the kids. I say the kids already is putting it on this year. So please show up next Sunday, bring a friend. We're going to have food for, I think, 40 people, I believe. So it's not 40 people in here right now, but just if you see somebody that's not here, make sure they know that we're eating breakfast next Sunday. All right? Love y'all. See y'all soon.
Question. Are we supposed to wear pajamas next Sunday?
Oh, you are on it. You are on it. You must know Patrick.
Yeah.
You know Patrick. Yes, please wear your pajamas. If you have a onesie, whatever your favorite comfortable pajamas is that you wear at home, wear that. If it's teenage mutant turtles, I don't know what kind of pajamas you might wear, Mr. Joe. But that's Justin. She just told on you. She said that you like the teenage Ninja Turtles pajamas. Listen, I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it because I just may have Spider-Man onesie. But yes, please wear your pajamas next Sunday, November 19th, and the breakfast will be during the service, all right? Not after, it'll be during, okay? Thank you. Any more questions? Cool.
Now, please rise in body or spirit and join me as we bring in the light. When we're full of joy and hope, God needs us. When we suffer and feel helpless, God needs us. When we are fulfilled and celebratory, God needs us. When we feel isolated and numb, God needs us always. Come, let us worship the God of love together.
Please stay risen, and our opening hymn is hymn number 12. 1, 2.
Please join me in our flourish language. Flourish. Alone, together. We practice soul-hearted life, alone and together. Evergreen is open and affirming faith community, rooted in the way of Jesus. We grow through spiritual practices that nourish the individual and cultivate a more compassionate world. And now, in sharing the peace of Christ, we express the reconciliation, unity, and love that come from God. And we open ourselves to the power of God's love to heal our brokenness and make us agents of that love in the world. Since God has forgiven us in Christ, let us forgive one another. The peace of Christ be with you.
And also with you.
And now pass the peace of Christ to one another.
How are you, buddy? The streets are
You are. And I think Sylvia is my second favorite, even though I haven't met her.
Finally, they're getting back in the swing of things.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
You know who I'm cheering for in that game.
And which one?
The Iron Classic.
I hope it's Auburn.
Too many Auburn friends on Facebook. Actually, no. I've got probably more Bama friends on Facebook. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm doing well. Peace.
He's tripping.
My former neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
Their son is at Auburn, and he's a legacy.
That's right.
Because both mom and dad went.
Yeah.
And he's with the Auburn Fire Department.
Oh, cool.
Like his dad.
Yeah. Very cool.
So I couldn't cheer for anybody but Auburn, not with Tommy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they called him Friday. He's sung this before. So he had this one rehearsal last night.
Yeah, that's right.
But he doesn't look
Yeah. Oh, he's sung it many times. Yeah. But it's huge. I mean, it's a huge thing. It's a huge role.
I'll think about it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take a seat. Take a seat. Take a load off your feet. All right, y'all. So, question. What's special about this month, Mr. Matthew? It is Thanksgiving, and I get to eat a lot of turkey dressing food and cranberry sauce. Yeah, okay. What is Thanksgiving for? What is the special thing about Thanksgiving? To be thankful. Be thankful for the things that you got, as the songwriter said. Or
sad for the turkeys that get killed.
yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
They're family.
Yeah. Well, listen. I want to take a second for us to sit and think about some things that we're thankful for, okay? So, Miss Betty and Miss Sylvia, y'all have on a dress, so what y'all need to do is either sit like how you sit now or sit crisscross applesauce. But Mr. Matthew or anybody else, I want to encourage you to find a spot to either sit crisscross applesauce or lay down, and we're going to take about 15 to 20 seconds. Excuse me. You said this isn't a dress, this is a skirt. I understand. Well, listen, take about 5 seconds to find, or 10 seconds to find somewhere. Mr. Matthew has already found his little spot. Find somewhere that makes you comfortable. Adults as well, you're encouraged. Whether you want to sit down, I remember Sigma used to always sit down. I used to love seeing Sigma sit down, either during one time or during the service. But have a seat, either lay down, whatever that you want to do. You can lay across the chairs if you want to. But let's take about 15 to 20 seconds and let's think about the things that we're thankful for. Okay? Now this is going to come with a quiz, as you know. So I am going to ask at the end, what are you thankful for? Okay? Take about 10 more seconds. All right. You can rise if you're laying down. Let's take a collective deep breath on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Breathe in. Breathe out. So, really quickly, any volunteers to tell me what you're thankful for? Bless you. Mr. Anthony.
Thankful for having a home.
Thankful for having a home, a roof over your head. Well, you smart. Thankful for your family. That's so beautiful. Miss Sylvia. Pets, yes. What's up, William?
I am thankful for having Sylvia in my lap and the lovely sound of her eyes doing something.
Definitely.
I'm already up there.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be thankful for. Anybody else? Anne-Marie?
I am thankful for my stuffed animals and rare and interesting dolls collection.
Yes, we love it.
I am thankful for having lots of gravy at Thanksgiving dinner because there's a story. Because my mother, when she was growing up, she and one of her cousins ate half the gravy that was in the bowl, and they were the first ones served, and there were about 8 to 10 other people who needed the gravy, and that's all there was. So we always make an abundance of gravy, and I will do that again this year.
Yeah, so beautiful. So you got to make sure we get some of that gravy. All right.
My family, those who are living, the saints, all the saints, especially my family who are part of Bible.
Yeah. One more.
I'm thankful for my son, Jackson.
Happy birthday, Jackson. Cool. Well, y'all, I'm thankful for all of y'all. I had a tooth pulled this past week on Friday, and sitting here right now, I hadn't even had to think about my tooth. I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to talk and stuff, but this whole little session has made me forget about that, and that's what love does. Love makes you forget about the worries of the world, the chaos of the world, and all of that, y'all. So when you get sad, or when you get mad, or something like that, Miss Betty, Miss Sylvia, Matthew, or Joe, think about what God has blessed you with. Think about the things that you're thankful for, because God blesses us every single day, whether it's a roof over our head, whether it's a new dress, whether it's a dad that holds us tight, or whether it's some coloring sheets that we get to color our moms in church. Whatever it is, God blesses us all the time, y'all. All right? So let's go back and let's play Thanksgiving Bingo.
Wondering time makes me feel good. A reading from John's Gospel. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Probably the simplest way I can clue you in on my parents, who they are, and how they go together, is to tell you that as a couple, Tina and Don are like if Microsoft Paint, Tina, fell in love with Microsoft Excel. Don. Knowing that, picture this. A few years back, my dreamy artist mom, who believes in a great, roiling, divine energy that transcends all time and space, asked my pragmatic accountant dad what he would come back as if he were reborn and given the choice. Immediately, my father, ever mindful of the matrix, asked, "What are the rules?" Mom laughed. "There are no rules," she replied. "You make the rules. Choose anything under the sun." I haven't asked her, but I imagine Mom's reincarnation top 5 includes at least one wild mythical creature, a griffin or a unicorn. My dad paused for a nanosecond before responding, "A stapler." They serve a clear purpose, they get fed when hungry, and if properly maintained, they live forever. So that's my folks. I love the stapler exchange because to me, it so clearly illustrates who my parents are in 30 seconds or less. What I don't love about the stapler exchange is that it reminds me my parents are going to die. Barring the unexpected, that's something I'll be around to experience. This is not a reality I'm prepared for, nor is it a reality I think we ever really can prepare for. Death is the ultimate mystery, right? I don't pretend to understand one single piece of the puzzle surrounding it. I have no answers for you today. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The only thing I know for certain about death is it's in the cards for all of us. And the thing I'm noticing about death of late is that its proximity to me seems to be growing. In less than a year, I've buried 4 people I love, 2 of whom were essentially my age. I've also held space for so much ancillary loss in the parents and grandparents of my friends, in their spouses, pets, extended family, siblings and beloved children lost and gone away so unexpectedly, or even expectedly. Regardless of age, I have never said goodbye to someone when it didn't feel too soon. Sickness, too, and violence seem to be creeping closer these days. One of those feels like a byproduct of aging, the other a sign of turbulent times. But with each inching advance, I'm starting to gain some clarity around one thing. I'm a lot less afraid of dying than I am of losing. That's not to say I don't fear death. Death, I fear thy sting. But mostly, I fear my life made dimmer without the light of the people I love. And I fear the unknowing that accompanies the grieving process. What happens to our spirits when we die? I have always loved the simplicity of the passage we read from John's Gospel. God built a giant house somewhere, up, and away, and there's plenty of space for everyone. Hopefully there's plenty of towels, maybe even one of those fancy ice machines in the kitchen that makes the pellet ice. It's heaven, let's dream big. It's also not lost on me that at the beginning of this passage, Jesus is saying, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." As if telling a worrier not to worry is all it takes. I wish, Jesus. While I love this image of the Jesus dream house in outer space where we can all go live someday, I can also hear Mitzi Miner's voice in my head. My New Testament professor at MTS, Dr. Miner once mused that if heaven really is one giant banquet, A tragic many people will decline their invitation once they see who they've been seated next to. So there's that. For me, with profound respect to Scripture, the closest I've ever come to understanding what happens or doesn't happen when we die is the first law of thermodynamics. In its simplest form, this law states that neither matter nor energy can be created or destroyed. Matter, including human and animal beings, upon drawing our last breath, undergoes a state change, but we are not disappeared. We cannot be destroyed. The matter that was us finds new form as something else. Soil, perhaps, a blossoming pear tree, an ocean of fossils given the passage of time, maybe even a stapler if you're my dad and you're lucky. But what of the energy that was us? What new form does that take? I was chewing on this question intently during a silent seated meditation up at Sewanee in the spring of this year. The assignment was to clear our minds and take part in a loosely guided meditation designed to awaken the unconscious. Just flood your mind with light, said the instructor. Naturally, I chose this moment to ruminate on death. Being there with my mother, who was often my partner at these retreats, it occurred to me that eventually one of us will be coming to Sewanee without the other. Statistically speaking, that person will likely be me. I looked over at her in this moment of realization, seated one row up from me and 2 chairs to the left, eyes closed and legs folded, arms open, spine lifted high. I thought about that unknown future moment when I will find myself up on the mountain without her. And surprisingly, I felt a deep wave of peace wash over me. I could feel my mother's brightness within me, and I had the distinct thought that I am connected to everything that has ever existed, across any place or point in time. Your mother exists in this place now and before and beyond and on, I felt through the silence. Always, you will find each other here. This calming, cosmic sensibility lasted for about 5 seconds. Then the bottom dropped out on me and fear rushed in, followed quickly by panic and the worrier's cacophony of what-ifs. Loudest among them was, but what if I can't find you here? What if you go and you're just gone? I was fighting back tears without much luck when a memory fell from the skies of my mind and transported me back a few years in time. It was Christmas Eve, 2016. As a nation, we were about 8 weeks into the knowledge of our 45th president, and I think we're still close enough to that moment in time that probably I don't need to remind you how we all were doing. But for those of you who might not recall, I'll borrow a favorite line from Mad Men to remind you how things were going in winter of 16. Not great, Bob. This grim reality seemed especially evident in the health of my friends. 2 members of my surrogate LeBonner family had both received dire cancer diagnoses earlier that year. And around Halloween, my good friend Tyler, husband to Brooke, a beloved friend from my bookstore days, learned that his rapid onset stomach pain was the result of a 14-centimeter tumor in his abdomen. Tyler was freshly 33 at the time of this diagnosis and had hardly ever even had the flu. It devastates me to tell you that he would not live to see another birthday, is perpetually 33 in the hearts and minds of all who loved him. In mid-December of that year, Brooke and Tyler had gone to Vanderbilt in search of answers, more treatment options, and possibly a clinical trial. Tyler's inpatient stay bled into the holidays, and as the doors ticked down on the Advent calendar, I found myself praying for a Christmas miracle. I'd gone home to Murfreesboro to celebrate with family, and on December 23rd, my mom and I drove up to Vanderbilt to visit Tyler and have lunch with Brooke in the cafeteria. On December 23rd, so much still seemed possible. It was mid-afternoon on December 24th when the call came from Brooke. My parents and I had elected to skip midnight mass and go to the early service that year, which had the downside of more pageantry, but the upside of less getting home at 2 a.m. I was upstairs getting dressed for church when B called. I don't remember exactly what Brooke said on the phone, but the gist was, it's over. There's nothing they can do. Can you come? So I went. In the hospital room, this new knowledge weighed heavily. I remember not knowing what to say or do, which is so often the case in hospital rooms. Eventually, Tyler's parents arrived. It was decided one of them would stay the night in his room so Brooke could get a decent night's sleep somewhere else. As if. From Memphis, Brooke's father booked her a room at the Hutton Hotel just across the street from Vanderbilt. It was decided I would stay the night with Brooke so she wasn't alone on Christmas Eve. I packed a bag just in case. After checking into the hotel, Brooke went up to the room to call some friends and family back home, and I sat down to text my mom a brief update and let her know I'd be spending the night in Nashville. By this point, she and my dad were already back home from church, and she responded quickly. Within her response, she included the following suggestion. I don't know what Brooke and Tyler's beliefs are, but you might suggest to them that they think of something, a song, a symbol, it could be anything, that could serve as a sort of sign for them when Tyler is gone, something Brooke can hold as a touchstone. I wish I could tell you I'm the kind of person who immediately sought to relay this poignant suggestion to my friend, but I'm not. I'm the kind of person who immediately thought, I need to get my afterlife symbols locked down, starting with you, Mom. The idea had never before crossed my mind, and suddenly, its execution was an emergency. I texted back, I love this idea. I also think you and I need a thing. My mom responded, okay, what do you want our sign to be? It didn't take me long to come up with rainbows, dreamer that I am, and I replied in the form of 3 rainbow emojis. After a second, I followed up with, I think it should be rainbows, just to ensure there was no confusion. This seems like an area where it's important to be on the same page. After a moment, her response popped up. Rainbows are actually the symbol I have with my mom. Can you think of something else we might share? So Grandmama had dibs on Roy G. Biv. That was fine. Obviously rainbows were the best option and anything else would be a compromise, but it was fine. I'm flexible. I thought for a minute and texted back, how about the wind? No emojis. I could live with wind. This time her reply took longer. I saw those 3 little dots pop up twice and thought, uh-oh. Sure enough, when her text appeared on the screen, it read, wind is the sign between me and your dad. At this point, in addition to my mounting fear of looming death, I'm also feeling pretty out of the loop. Not great, Bob. It was 2016 and it bears repeating. The 3 little dots went to work again, and before my mom could say anything collaborative or loving to diffuse the situation, I quickly typed out, sounds like all the good stuff's taken. I guess our thing can be farting pot-bellied pigs. Pig emoji, snout emoji, wind emoji, send. My poor mother. Consummate diplomat that she is, I remember her responding with a gentle, let's sleep on it, before wishing me sweet dreams and a peaceful Christmas Eve. By the time she and I were done texting, Brooke was finished with phone calls and ready to attempt dinner. I shared my mom's suggestion with her, omitting the latter half of that conversation, and within a few minutes of room service arriving, I'd forgotten all about those pigs. Christmas morning, Brooke and I were both up early. She was ready to get back to Tyler, and I was heading to Huntsville via Murfreesboro for our family's gathering. We packed the few things we brought and went downstairs to check out, deciding in the elevator to grab breakfast together before parting ways. Standing in line at the front desk, I was admiring the hotel's lavish holiday decorations. I turned around to get a better look at the tree, and I gasped. Not 5 feet from me, right there in the lobby of this 4-star hotel, stood a pot-bellied pig on a festive Christmas leash. Last night's conversation with my mother came crashing back to mind, and I was momentarily struck dumb. Like a bleary-eyed parent painstakingly assembling a bicycle by lamplight, it felt to me like God had stayed up all night just to pull off this tiny, sweet surprise. And I have pictures of this pig that I'll circulate.
It's my very low-tech version of a slide.
Oh, I saw this thing on Facebook.
Yeah.
My dumbness lifted, and suddenly I became my own pop-up archangel, loudly exclaiming, "Pig in the lobby! Christmas pig!" For unto us a Christmas pig. I'd love to tell you then everyone in the hotel lobby joined hands, sang "O Come All You Faithful," and raised enough money to bail out the Bailey building and loan. I'd love to tell you Tyler's doctors burst in with news of a Christmas miracle cure. I wish that's how this story goes, but that's a Hollywood ending, and we stream in real life. In real life, this is real life. In real life, I yelled, "Christmas pig!" A few folks looked uncomfortable, and then Brooke and I retreated to the hotel restaurant where I proceeded to consume about 4,000 calories of peppermint whipped cream pancakes. That's life, even in the midst of death. That was the memory that came back to me during my silent meditation earlier this year. And it wasn't until this year that I felt like I fully, or at least more fully, understood the pig's significance. Certainly, I appreciated the irony of the pig's appearance at the time. It blows my mind now, and it blew my mind then. Well played, God. But it wasn't until my panicky, death-fixated trip down memory lane this spring that I almost felt God take me by the shoulders, ever so gently, and say, "Sweetheart, don't worry about logistics. You'll find the ones you love in the places where you look for them. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me." Like another sweet, tiny miracle, a second wave of peace washed over me. I could feel for a moment the both and of my permanence and my impermanence. I could feel my connectedness to everything that lives, everything that once lived, and everything that has yet to take its place in the family of things. That self-same energy that existed at the first downbeat of time is the energy comprising all of us today. And just for a moment, I could feel millennia coursing through me. Then the moment passed, and it was back to taking things on faith. On January 5th, the 12th and final day of Christmas, Tyler died. Brooke later told me that the two of them did, in fact, pick a sign to look for in the hereafter. Known for his legendary playlists and ability to match a song to any moment, Tyler chose for them the song "You Don't Miss Your Water," written and recorded by Stax Memphis artist William Bell. It makes me happy to tell you that Brooke had her own Christmas pig experience at Beale Street Music Fest later that same year when Sturgill Simpson surprised his audience with an achingly beautiful cover of "You Don't Miss Your Water," a song he'd seldom sung before and seldom since. I don't tell you this story to create false expectations around signs and symbols, nor to run the risk of propping up some ghostly parallel to prosperity gospel. This false notion that if we plan well enough and pray hard enough, we can make divine magic move how we want it to or show up how we ask it to. It would be really cool if things worked like that, but I don't believe they do. I tell you this story because if you, like me, find yourself fearful of loss and bound with worry over logistics, perhaps hearing it will bring you some comfort and help soothe your grieving heart. Do not let your hearts be troubled. I tell you because I do believe, through my own experiences, that we find the ones we love in the places where we look. And we carry them with us in the many rooms of our hearts and our minds, of our energy and our matter, until the time comes for us to be carried on by the ones who remain, when our place has been prepared in the new family of things. Amen.
I'm CK Harley, and I will be entering us into silence. There's lots of ways to think about this part of our tradition, and I'll just offer one way to think about it today. All parts of our service, we are looking for God, reaching out for God, from when we bring in the light together to when we pass the peace to one another, hearing our music, listening to a beautiful sermon. So now is a time to let any part of the service that has stood out to you resonate with you. I'll ring a bell to bring in our silence. If you are unaware of your body in the space right now, just be a little more aware of it, whether that means you get more comfortable in your chair or you put something down that you feel like you have to hold on to. Get comfortable. I'll ring the bell, and then after a little while, I'll ring the bell again.
Friends, as you go forth from this place, I hope that you can find God and love and your loved ones in the hereafter, and maybe even in the occasional Christmas pig. As Catherine had said, as Jesus had said, do not let your hearts be troubled. You are loved. Go in peace.
You just run on down here. The buses will wait. The buses will wait.
So pick up a ball. Ooh, cute outfit. That's fine. It's not stealing. It is borrowing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. You're like, you can't share clothes. Like, my nuts was much smaller than me, so there was no sharing.
No.
Yeah. So why are you sharing? So what's on yours?
We're actually gonna do some, we're gonna go, she has a concert at the Shell.
The show? The show? Is it called something else now? I'm out of touch.
And then we're going to the park to see,
It's hard to get out of, that has a target in it. About the
Careful on that bridge.
expressway that goes this way and that way.
Be careful.
Yeah, and we're right beside the
Just be
lake.
careful on bridges.